It's something we probably don't think about much, but just changing the books on a bookshelf can be a really powerful statement. It says a lot about your identity, your values, and the story you want to tell about yourself. Now, what if that bookshelf was the most important one in an entire nation? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. A fascinating story happening right inside the official residence of the President of India. And wow, just look at this contrast. It says it all, right? On the left, you've got what used to be there speeches by Lord Curzon, a top viceroy of the British Empire, and even satirical magazines from Britain. And on the right, you see what's there now ancient Sanskrit Vedas, classic Tamil literature on ethics, and Kautilya's Arthashastra, this foundational text on how to run a state. This isn't just swapping out a few books, this is a total rewrite of the narrative. So you gotta ask, how did this collection of British imperial texts end up in the heart of the Indian Republic in the first place? To really get what's happening now, we have to rewind a bit and look at the before, the problem this whole project was trying to solve. Seriously, it's a fair question. Decades after independence, and you've still got these colonial relics sitting so prominently on the shelf. It seems kind of strange, right? Well, the answer isn't really about the books themselves. It's about the building they were in. And this is where it gets really interesting. The building itself was a giant symbol. We're talking about what was originally the Viceroy's house, finished back in 1929. It was never meant for an Indian president. Nope, its entire purpose was to scream, British power is here and it's here to stay. And of course, the library was designed to send that exact same message. Exactly. So the books on the shelf, they were basically a reflection of who lived there. You had speeches from Lord Curzon, the ultimate symbol of British imperial rule. You had catalogs of British art, and even copies of Punch magazine, which, let's be honest, often pushed some pretty strong colonial views. It was literally the empire's archive just sitting there, right in the heart of a free India. Okay, so that sets the stage for the big change. And what they did wasn't just a simple renovation. It's being called a civilizational reply, a direct answer to that lingering colonial echo. So let's get into what that actually looks like. The new collection is called Granth Couture, and I kind of love this. It translates to book cottage. It sounds so simple and humble, but the project behind it is massive. The whole point is to create a home for India's own foundational texts. We're talking philosophy, science, literature. It's a complete 180, a turn from the building's colonial past to India's own intellectual roots. And get this for scale, we're talking about 2,300 rare books and manuscripts. So this isn't just, putting a few symbolic books on display for show. This is a full-blown, comprehensive library. The goal here is to really show off the incredible depth of India's classical knowledge. And dig this, inside that collection, there are around 50 super rare handwritten manuscripts. And what's so cool is what they're written on. We're not talking paper here. We're talking palm leaves, tree bark, even cloth. So these aren't just books, they're historical artifacts. You can feel the history in them. So with 2,300 texts, you need a way to organize them, right? And the whole foundation for this collection is built around a very specific idea: India's classical languages. Now, what does it even mean to be a classical language in India? Well, it's not just any old language. There's some really strict rules. It has to be ancient, like at least 1,500 to 2,000 years old. It needs to have a huge body of amazing literature. And, this is key, its literary tradition has to be totally original, not just copied from somewhere else. Yeah, it's a pretty high bar to clear. And this whole idea has been growing. Tamil got the status back in 2004, then Sanskrit. But check this out. In 2024, there was this huge expansion. 5 more languages got added all at once: Marathi, Pali, Prakrit, Assami, and Bengali. That almost doubled the list overnight, which means this Granth Couture project is now way more representative of the incredible linguistic mix of the subcontinent. And this table right here, it just lays it all out beautifully. You can see all 11 classical languages. And the sheer range is just amazing. You've got Sanskrit and the Vedas, Tamil and the Tirukkural, Pali with Buddhist texts. The list goes on. Each one of these is its own universe of thought and history. Okay, so we've talked about the languages, but what's in these books? What are they actually about? Because this is way more than just poetry or old stories. This is a library packed with science, politics, philosophy, ideas that have shaped things for centuries. Let's start with something like governance. They've got Kautilya's Arthashastra. This is this ancient Sanskrit masterpiece on how to run a state, economic policy, even military tactics. It's so deep that, people in politics and academia are still reading it today, trying to get insights from it. Pretty amazing. Then you've got science and math. You've got the work of Aryabhata. This guy was an astronomer who figured out how long a year is with unbelievable accuracy. And then there are the medical tests from Charaka and Sushruta. These are basically the founding documents of Ayurveda, and they get into some seriously complex stuff, like detailed surgical procedures. And for all you language nerds out there, there's Panini's Ashtadhyayi. This incredible work on Sanskrit grammar that's so perfectly logical and structured, people have compared it to a computer algorithm. I'm not kidding. It still influences how linguists think today. It just shows you how deep that analytical tradition goes.
But here's the part that I think is a total masterstroke, the thing that ties the ancient past right into the present day. They've also included the modern constitution of India, and they've had it translated into all 11 of these classical languages. That's such a powerful symbol, isn't it? It's basically saying that India's ancient wisdom and its modern democracy are not separate things. They're connected.
So, okay, let's zoom out. What's the bigger picture here? Why does this matter so much? Well, this whole project is way more than just fixing up a library. It's actually part of a much bigger national conversation about reshaping the country's identity for the 21st century.
And this is all framed as part of a national effort to shake off a colonial mindset. The guiding principle is something called virasat or vikas, which translates to heritage and development. And the idea is really simple but powerful. For a country to really move forward and develop, it needs to be grounded in its own unique culture and its own history. There's a great quote from President Drupadi Murmu that I think just nails it. She said, "The wealth of knowledge accumulated in the classical languages inspires us to learn from our rich past and build a bright future." And that right there is the whole point. It's not about being stuck in the past. It's about using all that incredible heritage as the launchpad for what comes next.
Which really just leaves us with this one big question to chew on. At the end of the day, the books we put on our shelves, whether it's in our own homes or in the president's residence, they tell a story about who we are, and maybe more importantly, who we want to become. So the real question is, how does a whole nation's story change when it makes a conscious choice about what to put on its most important bookshelf?